It's always sunny down in Mexico. The sun gets high when I get low. The only way to get there is to let yourself go. Good times are made in Mexico.
The news that happened in Vallarta last Sunday was widely misrepresented and misreported, and blown up to basically just make people scared. So that was quite frustrating. It was a period in Vallarta, it was a period of 3 hours that the cartel had lit cars on fire, and they didn't hurt anybody. It was just a reaction to, show their power, if you will, to the government who had recently killed their top leader. Definitely scary, for sure. I'm not downplaying that. For sure, it's scary because there's crime everywhere. They're capable of anything, right? But so is everywhere in the world.
Right.
Definitely scary, understandable. But the fact that they were not hurting anybody, they're not going after tourists. They did not take over the airport and light planes on fire, as we saw.
This was a perfect example of how AI can get out of control and you can't believe everything that you see. Because the videos I was seeing, Puerto Vallarta fires, Tulum fires, Cancun car fires, it was getting so out of hand with all the misinformation that's been out there.
It was interesting because, I've been in this industry a long time. I remember I've seen this happen over and over and over again, right? And not just Mexico. It was a year ago. It was Jamaica.
Yeah.
Haiti, which Haiti had a lot of this crime and a lot of this stuff going on there. That's Dominican Republic, right? There's always things, and the Dominican Republic. Remember the alcohol that only
only
affected Americans, no other nationalities. So there's always news stories that are sensationalized and made to drive fear.
Right.
But that's what happened Sunday in Vallarta. It did last about 3 hours, and then it was done. I think people lost their freaking minds.
Yeah, I try to put myself in their shoes because we're so well traveled and we have people on the grounds that we can talk to and tell us the real updates. Whereas if I were a bride just reading these headlines, yeah, I would be freaked out. But that's also why you have a travel agent with you who knows the resorts, knows the people, knows the cities, and can give you the reassurance of what's actually happening. And also beyond that, the steps of what you would need to take if it weren't actually safe for you to go.
I tell people all the time, it's like, look, I'm not going to send anybody somewhere that I wouldn't personally go. I would not hesitate to get on a flight tomorrow to Cancun, to Vallarta, to anywhere. The media and social media, like when something happens, and I'm not saying, I'm not downplaying what happened, but when something happens, they report on it. But the problem is they continue to report on it for days and days and days and days and days, like it just happened, like it's continuing to happen. And the fact is, it's not continuing to happen. It was an isolated incident that lasted 3 hours. That's a little, disingenuous, shall I say.
This situation also highlights the importance of travel insurance. If you truly don't feel comfortable about traveling, that is why you buy travel insurance, so you can cover yourself in these type of situations.
I cannot stress that enough to people. It's interesting. Some people, they think that, well, if the news media says it's a war zone, well, then I should get all my money back. The fact is, the news isn't always right, but what the media says is not necessarily the reality of what it is out on the ground. And just because the way you feel, that doesn't justify that you get all your money back. If you're under a reservation, that is under full penalty. And that is exactly what travel insurance is for. I cannot stress that enough. Great point. That is why you buy travel insurance. The situation kind of like reminds me of kind of the things we've gone through, because I've been in this industry a long time. And I've seen it over and over again. Again, different countries, doesn't matter. But I remember, I don't know if you remember, I remember when literally the U.S. was reporting that the cartels in Mexico were involved in blowing up ferries from Playa del Carmen to Cozumel.
I think this is the funniest story ever.
It went on for a couple weeks, and I think there was a couple explosions on the ferries, but it literally went on for weeks, and everybody in the U.S. was absolutely convinced this was cartel. They're targeting tourists, and none of it turned out to be true.
Literally insurance fraud.
Right, it was insurance fraud. The company, that the ferry company was blowing up their own ferries. to try to claim the insurance
Yeah.
money and get.
And there like
Yeah,
wasn't
get-
even any casualties or anything from it, and the media ran with that.
They ran with it exactly, and they caused a bunch of fear unnecessarily. And then once the truth came out, it was like, oh, okay. What I think has been interesting this time around has been in the comments that I've seen on social media posts and all about this. The number of comments from people that are like, yeah, no, this is fake. This is rage bait. This is BS. I'm in Mexico right now. My friend's in Mexico right now. This is not how it is. I'm seeing so many comments. So that's actually quite refreshing.
Yeah, that is refreshing, and also vice versa of that. Another nice thing for this being all in social media is how much coverage we have seen of it being okay, just from random people who actually live there. It's nice to be able to see that they're walking around the town and it's not actively on fire and everything is fine. It's nice to be able to see both sides of things.
Yeah, yeah. It is interesting thinking of it as a net positive, though, that that Mexico and the U.S. with the U.S. support as well is doing what they can to help make Mexicans and visitors safer as well. And because I was really thinking long and hard, I was like, why on earth would anybody create an AI photo? There was an AI photo of literally planes on fire at the airport. Why? And it got reported on national
Yeah,
news
I
as
don't
like
know why. People fail to remember that Mexico lives off our tourism dollars. They need the US market to survive, and they're not going to actively do things to scare Americans away.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. But I couldn't think of any reason why until just recently I realized somebody said that the cartel actually created those images and spread them to help try to create fear. That could make sense that they were trying to spread it to make them look like they were more powerful than they really were.
That I could see, but I feel like a plane wouldn't be the best tactic for them because that's also coming at actual people.
For our groups, I think the majority of our couples, I've talked to a bunch of them, certainly the ones that are traveling, this week and next week and all. Everybody's been fine. My couples have been totally fine. They're not really concerned about it. I answered their questions, told them what's going on, told them about my conversations with people on the ground,
Yeah.
my friends and colleagues and all that are on the ground. Some of the individual guests within the group still did not want to travel. So if they had travel insurance, it made it real easy.
Yep.
Okay, cancel. It doesn't even matter. We don't care. There's no reason. You don't have to give us a reason. That is always amazing. If they have travel insurance, some didn't have travel insurance and still opted not to travel. In that case, they're just going to lose their money, and they understood that. But I hate seeing that. We've had a couple emails from people that are traveling, in fall. Same type of situation that you've had, and it's a shame. It's because they're panicked kind of unreasonably driven by the media. I try to be empathetic with them and just calm them down a little bit and let them know, hey, and so these were people with travel insurance. I'm like, hey, you're not even paid in full yet. You're not under penalty.
Right.
So, you don't have to worry about anything. You have travel insurance, so you can cancel right up until an hour before with getting your money back or a future travel credit up until an hour before departure. You have flexibility. That puts the power in your hands so that you can decide what's best for you if you buy travel insurance. If you don't buy travel insurance,
sunny down in Mexico, the sun gets high.